little joke. I don't know how funny it is, but it's kind of cute. Little joke. So if it's not funny, whatever. It's about little Timmy.
Oh, no.
Timmy didn't want to put his money in the offering plate Sunday morning, so his mother decided to use some hurried, creative reasoning with him. "You don't want that money, honey," she whispered in his ear. "Quick, drop it, take it, put it back in the plate. It's tainted." Horrified, the little boy obeyed. After a few seconds, he whispered, "Mommy, why was the money tainted? Was it dirty?" "Oh, no, dear," she replied. "It's not really dirty. It's just taint yours and taint mine. It's God's." Okay. So today is a day that I have picked to celebrate Pride Weekend. And if you're here and that is an uncomfortable subject for you, I understand maybe. If not, I hope you'll open your hearts and your mind today. HeartLight is a community of diversity.
Yes.
We try to recognize all the diversity that is represented here. And today is Pride. I actually chose this because Amy was going to be here, and she is the persona of color and pride and everything. It would have been just wonderful to have celebrated that. But what can I say? Greg did a wonderful job. So just bear with me today. If you think this has nothing to do with you, it really does. All of our stories have to do with each other. I've never understood this thing, which has been a total failure, that everybody wants to act like the same people and be one. Our oneness that we speak of is in creation. We are one in spirit. Even in quantum energy, we are one field. Together. But in the story of evolution versus the story of creation, we are not. We are different. We are unique. We have different tones of skin. We have different cultures. We have different experiences. And it's not trying to make each other be like each other so we can accept each other. It's about learning what we can glean from each other's diversity and differences, what we can contribute. And so therefore, I think it's important. You that are still not familiar with the Juneteenth story, we put that online, by the way, for you, a wonderful video. Please look at it that tells the story. That's on the HeartLight. Pardon me? It was sent on an email to you, so it's there. Please check these things out. That Tim takes such time to make sure to have the availability as much information and knowledge for you to do, other than what you're just sitting here and getting on Sunday and Wednesday. We're trying to also do that. So we have diversity.
We want to thank Tim for doing all of that.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. Thank you for that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of history of where our time came. We know that there was a certain time in history in which things begin to emerge out of the body, out of our pathology of racism. So all of these and they are pathologies. They are our own karmic issues that have not been balanced and taken care of. This is why people on this planet, even Americans, are not whole, because of the fact that we judge one another based upon our color or our sexual orientation, all of these things that divide us is too bad, because I think they all have a contribution to the whole if we would stop. I think we all want to be seen and heard, and this is what we give opportunities for here to do. The word homosexual, let me just start and get this, was not in the Bible until 1946. You know, a lot happened in 46. That was the finding of the Hammadi, lost books of the Bible. A lot happened around that time of my birth. And I don't think it's accident that I came in at this time that all this was kind of going on. But I think I was writing that vibration. The first absolutely couple was an Egyptian couple, male couple. Most of all the scriptures that are being used in the Bible to discredit and cause homophobia have all been taken out of context. If I had time, I would take them one by one with you. We're going to take one today, but don't think I have not spent years of deep research on this subject. Deep research. I had as part of knowing who I was. Most of what's been taken out of context is often referring to pedophilia or abusive behavior that has to do with any scriptures that are being used about gay people or homosexual type people or same-sex orientations. Again, I struggle to talk past the labels. It's the labels that divide us so much. It was the Archbishop of Canterbury who actually advocated the sin of Sodom, it was called. And the reason why in English and French interpretations they come out as anti-gay. While in the Latin Vulgate, Luther's German translation, Slavic translation correctly interpret these as abusive, ritual, and pederistic acts. So any translation in English or French is more against, where these others interpretations did not have that at all. It was a part of the natural part of nature. So the gay movement started actually in 1969. Another big year for me was 1969. A lot happened that year that came out of the gay rights movement was at Stonewall in New York City. Stonewall was a gay bar in which the police and others was constantly harassing and beating people up for just being who they are. They didn't do anything just because of who they were. They were beat and beaten. Until 1969, when enough was enough, and they began to push back against the police and against the abusers. That was the start of the gay movement. For an affirmation today, if Tim will put it on there, I wanted to say this together because I thought it was a good one. All right, I will say it. Say it with me. We gather not just in tolerance, but in celebration of diversity. Thank you. The introduction of the theme that pride isn't just about identity. It's about reclaiming the divine image that organized religion tried to edit out. First of all, coming from a Gnostic point of view, we realize that your life, your body, your human life is God's building, its sanctuary, designed for its permanent residence. In the Mirror Bible, this is what it says. In the King James, it says your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. But in the true translation, it says you've got to realize that your life is God's body, his sanctuary, designed for permanent residence. Pride is a celebration of the sacred self, not the egoic pride I'm not talking about today, but divine dignity. Again, as I said earlier, where we find our oneness is deep within ourselves as we move to know ourselves as created spiritual beings. You know, the Bible teaches a dogma, a doctrine based upon that Jesus is the only begotten Son of God. Taking that literally, that's what Christians believe, that Jesus is the only begotten Son of God. But when you study this into more metaphysical teachings, you will see that it's not talking about Jesus, the body, but it's talking about the Christ consciousness that he awoke in himself. And when we read and understand the Christ of Jesus, then we can understand the self of each and every one of us. The Bible is very clear that Christ is not just bound with the man Jesus, but Christ is in you, the hope of glory. And you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. So he brought us to understand and to remember our own authentic, actual sacred self as a part of the Christ consciousness of God. So in that way, if Christ consciousness is the extension and individualization of the prime creator, then we are all the begotten of God. Son means male and female because that's what it is in creation. You can't have the male without the female. That comes later in the physical lower realms of vibration that we separated with body identities. But we all know on a spiritual level that male and female basically work together. So today we can meet in these services beyond our identities at times. Today I'm asking us to meet where we live as human beings, but often we go into what Rumi calls the field. And the quote is, and I love it, "There is a field, meet me there. Beyond right and wrong, good and bad, this and that, there is a field." So when we come together with our diversity, we come and we enter together into a place of oneness and celebrate our creation spiritual self. But today I'm asking us to honor not that part of ourself that is one, but that part of ourself that makes us unique and diverse with each other. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of the culture, the race in which you have come into experience, but always raising the consciousness of those things that don't get caught in the lower vibration. In the Old Testament, most everything was given to a people as exclusive in what was called the chosen people of Israel. Most everything in the Old Testament to do with laws, commandments, was not a universal law, but it was the law to a nation of people. Thou shalt not kill is one of the great commandments that they're trying to now put in every school, by the way. They are passing the 10 Commandments. It's the worst thing they could do as far as I'm concerned, because they don't understand the 10 Commandments. They don't understand it says in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill, which came from a God who killed all kinds of people, babies, women, and children. I can prove that. So it was saying an Israelite should not kill another Israelite, but if you're not an Israelite, you can kill them if you're your enemy. I don't know if that's not going on today, to some degree. If you're not an American, if you're not a white Christian American, then you're up for grabs. We can either throw you into prison or we can kill you if we choose to do it, because your life doesn't mean that much. This is the result of Judeo-Christian doctrinal teachings that is in the collective out there. But Jesus changed that to this: if anyone thirsts, let them come. He did not have a message to one nation or one group or one race or even one gender. He was so criticized because he dared to talk to a woman who had been married 5 times. They said, you can't talk to her. One, she's a Samaritan, and we don't talk to Samaritans. They're the enemy. And you should not be talking to some woman without her husband or without some male present. But Jesus gave her one of the greatest messages and said to her, now go into the city and tell others. He pulled ox on the Sabbath day, which was against the law of the Old Testament. But it did not matter, because he said, I came to fulfill that. Let's move on. Because I've got a better covenant for you. I've got a better agreement for you than the one you've been under for all these years that has tried to imprison you within the confinements of the laws of 613 of them. From not eating shrimp to not wearing wool and linen together was an abomination. Right beside, a man shall not lay with a man. If you're going to believe that one, then quit eating shrimp. And I don't want to see you after church at the restaurant gorging yourself on shrimp. You can't just pick in those laws the ones that you want. It doesn't work that way. For if you are weak in one of the laws, you're weak in all the law. Jesus said, enough of that, I'll fulfill that, and we will move on to a better covenant. And for the first time, grace shone through the heart of a visionary. Acknowledge that for many LGBTQ plus, and I've not been for that until recently. Tim and I flew to Dayton, Ohio for a conference about older gay people not having anyone and how can they retire and be taken care of. It was a moving day for us to hear the stories of people. Also, what we begin to hear is all of the funds that have been canceled to assist in that way since Trump has come in. It was a terrible story. Overnight, programs have been canceled. Right now, if they could do it, they are trying to shut down the suicide lines for young gay teenagers, which is the highest suicide that there is among gay. Unfortunately, Canada has come in and said, okay, we'll take you. Isn't that great? So it's not being totally shut down, but they have tried in every way to shut it down. And they'll shut down the support for anything that is not and does not look like them. That's just a fact. Call it politics or what you want, that's up to you. But I'm just telling you that's the America we're living in at this time. And I do want to say that talking to Susan was really informative yesterday. I encourage you to come out and hear what she has to say. Yes, well, I've been kind of like, oh, I don't want to get all these letters and all these stuff, I just don't like it. But after going there and realizing that you can't just say gay and straight anymore. We don't live in a black and white world anymore. It's not a this or that, yes or no world. There's many shades between black and white. I'm not talking about race, I'm talking about black and white. The opposites of how we think. You're either this, if you're not this, then you're that. Well, that's not always true. And there's a lot of people that has been lost and unfortunately are again not being recognized and funded who are transgender or bisexual or anything like that. So I say to the LGBTQ plus people, wherever you are, that traditional religion has been the source of a lot of your trauma, not giving you sanctuary. It is more radical to deny the divine, which is in each of us. That's a quote from me. Coming out from this is about sexuality. It's not just about our sexuality. It's about revealing the truth, just as the soul comes out when we drop false beliefs. So gay people aren't the only ones to come out of the closet. There's a lot of people who are not authentic with their thoughts and what they believe and what they think. They have shut themselves in to be conformed to culture and society and to be validated by giving their power away. I suggest people be authentic. When somebody asks you a question, don't give them the answer you think they want so that they will validate you because you're so insecure in yourself. Speak your truth. This is why the throat chakra is so closed on about everybody I've worked on for 25 years, especially women who were taught to be seen and not heard, who've been told that the man is the head, that you've got to ask him before you can ask anything. These are old Bible stories that need to be redone and seen what they mean from a metaphysical deep level. We need today the energy of authenticity. It's very important. True healing arises when we align ourselves with our own inherent wholeness, not when we conform to external standards. What does it mean to be a good person? What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a wife? What does it mean to be a husband? What does it mean to be this? We've all had to deal with how they would like to define us into an image that is not always our authentic self. Don't hide your light under a bushel. It's important that the message gets to this part of our community that you were never broken. You were never excluded in God's eyes. It is time to celebrate your true self without judgment of yourself. I wanted to take one of these things that has been probably the most, and that's the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. This is also in the book of Leviticus, which I read out of earlier today. And it's a story about two travelers who arrive in the city of Sodom. No one offers them shelter except for a man named Lot who invites them into his home. That night, a violent mob gathers outside, demanding Lot hand over these guests so they can know them. When you see know in the Bible, Adam knew Eve, we know we're talking about something probably sexual in some way. So this term, which in this context means to sexually assault them. It is not a story about a consensual love. It's about a threat of gang rape. Lot pleads with the crowd not to commit with such wickedness. Now, to show you even how ridiculous this story really is, in deep troubling moment, he offers his own daughters to the mob and says, take them. Now, this is really not working for me. First of all, every man in the city shows up. Every man, the whole city shows up and demands these two beings to be given to them for sexual abuse. I don't think that would ever happen anyway, that it'd be 100% of everybody in the city, and all men of the city would come asking to have access to these people. Finally, this does not work. Divine judgment falls and the city is destroyed. Now, what is really the sin of Sodom? Let's look at it. Many assume it was about same-sex behavior, but the Bible offers a more clarity in Ezekiel 16 and 49. Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. Sodom and Gomorrah is like sister cities, like St. Paul and Minneapolis or something like that. That's why. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, unconcerned, and did not help the poor and needy. This shifts the focus. The issue wasn't love between consenting adults. It was cruelty, inhospitality, arrogance, and refusal to care for the vulnerable. The people of Sodom sought to harm outsiders, and when Lot tried to protect them, they turned on him too, accusing him. This story then isn't about morality. It's a warning against dehumanization, especially of the stranger, the outsider, the vulnerable. It challenges us to ask, who are we excluding? Who are we failing to protect? And are we guilty of the same sins of arrogance, excess, indifference to suffering? This is the sin of Sodom that's going on in the world. It's not anything to do with sexual orientation or preference. It has to do, again, and I'll be glad to read them to you, of arrogance. Some of these people who are setting the course are extremely arrogant. Can't deny it. They're not humble about it. They are just flat arrogant about it. They're definitely excessive. And they are totally indifferent to the sufferings of different aspects of humanity. Not only in America, but in the world today. When reading these ancient texts, it is vital to consider both the historical and the literary context. Not simply use them as weapons against already marginalized people. Of course, this is close to me, because I didn't know what I was, but I knew I was different very early. There is some differences that I have learned between people who are born with heterosexual orientation from people who are born with more homosexual. There's a difference of a chromosome in the DNA. Right. There's a difference in the brain between the right and left brain. These are not bad things, they're differences. And what is interesting is that you just don't find this among human beings. All species. There's a huge population of grasshoppers. If you study this, you will see that it is in all of nature itself, and maybe it's for the balancing of something bigger than ourselves. So it did not start. And the ridiculous thing of it's a choice, I won't even go there. I won't even talk to you. I'll be glad to talk to you about this, but not if you're going to be in a place that is a choice. I ask to every person who is not gay, is your heterosexuality was a choice? Not a one of them will say, no, it was not a choice, it was the way I was born. So I want to just talk from my heart about my experience now of knowing that I was different. No label, didn't know what that meant. It was very pre-sexual. It's just, you know, you're different. And of course, in today's society, difference seems to be bad instead of unique, to be different. But at the same time, I was coming into that early part of my puberty and was coming into that age of 12, 13 years old, I began to understand that part and that side of myself. But at the same time, I started having spiritual experiences. So I had two things happening identically at the same time that I was taught was totally two things to oppose each other. Well, I don't know why, I can't explain. But as I grew and got older, I met many friends in the church that I was raised, the fundamentalist Pentecostal church, who also was struggling with this thing of being different. And in a great revival that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is very much in the news these days, a huge revival sprung out. Hundreds and hundreds of people gathered night after night for over 8 weeks. It was a phenomenon. And many of my friends who were struggling with this was drawn to that revival because they promised us, if one, we would give our life to Jesus and we would ask God, God would heal us of this horrible thing that we were taught was so bad. So we went to their deliverance services. And if you've never been to a Pentecostal deliverance service, you don't even know what I'm talking about. It's very intimidating and physical. To have them surrounding you, literally. One's praying in one ear, hold on, hold on. One group's in the other ear saying, let go, let go. And I'm going, do I hold on, I let go? What am I going to do here? They're spitting on me because they're talking so loud and just spitting on me and casting the devil out and doing all kinds of things. Oh my God, I just thought, how do I get out of here? Because they ain't going to let you go. Because if you tried to get out of there, that's the devil. So the more you resisted, the more of the devil was trying to keep you. So you just had to somehow just give in, right? You know what I'm talking about. Just give in and say, okay, this will pass, this too will pass. There'll be an opportunity to get out of here. And of course, they're wanting you to get the Holy Ghost, so you just make up some tongues. It's not the real thing at all, but you'll do anything to get out of there. So you speak in some kind of, and the thing is, they want the next night they want to say how many people got the Holy Ghost. So what the preacher does is get down in here and whisper, say that, and I go, he's got it. No, I just said what he told me to say. See, some of you need to know what some of us have been through. And you should. But it's all right. I'm glad I went through there, because what I'm getting to is so many of my friends who did not get what they were promised either committed suicide or became alcohol or became so anti-God and so anti-church that they shut that entire part of themselves up. For some reason that I don't understand to this day, I did not. Something said, stay in this and change it from the inside out. Don't run from it. And from that, I found an inner strength in myself. And from that, I found today what I would call the God in me, the divine in me. And that's what I connected to, and not the old white men out there. No wonder people think that the white race is the supreme race. If you've made God white and Jesus white and everybody white and you're not white, then what's wrong with you? Right?
That's right, he was dark.
He was spirit.
Amen.
Before there is a race, before there is a color, before there is a gender, there is the spirit. So I'm 63 years from that experience. And whatever this God thing is for me has given me the wisdom and the strength and the power to navigate through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and so on and so forth. Why I'm telling you this is because I didn't want to just give you facts and knowledge, but I want to tell you that I am the living example that a person can be spiritual and be whatever and whoever they are based upon race, gender, sexual orientation, or whatever evolution has given you. Because it's evolution that gives us our race, our gender, our sexual orientation. It's not going away. I'm sure there's people that have come here, I know they have, and they've really liked it, and they liked my message and whatever, but the minute they found out that I had a husband, they've disappeared. But that's not what HeartLight represents. That's not our vibration.
That's right. That's right.
You come here because you've done the work. You don't come here to do the work. You got to come to a certain level and done the work to bring yourself out of judgment and realize you don't have to understand everything about everybody to accept them. I don't ask you to understand my part of myself and how I feel in those areas no more than I would want you to impose upon me the way you feel about those things. It's just the way it is. I'm not meant to make anybody uncomfortable with this subject, but I'm getting older. I'm not going to end this thing by playing a game.
Hello. Yep.
And I want to thank you, and I know a lot of you have come here with the attitude, I accept you with no judgment. But I'm asking for more. Understand me a little. Understand my story. Let me tell my story. And let's tell each other's story. That's really what community will be born. Community has not been born until we connect in our unique stories. It's good to see Maria. Maria represents our more, what do you like to be called these days? Latina, Latino, Cuban. But boy, does she have a story. If you were born and raised in Cuba, you got a story.
Homosexual too.
Oh, sister.
Just found a new partner. Congratulations. This is good. Love is always good, and it knows no form. It just comes into form, but it does not recognize the form because it is so agape, so unconditional, so transcendent. It is God. That is God. If you've got love in your heart coming out, you've got God coming out into your life and into your heart. So thank you for letting us take this one Sunday. It happens to be that this month is both Juneteenth and Pride. So we'll get this all done in June so that we can move on. Many of you know that I didn't marry, had a daughter. So when they come to me and say, well, if everybody was gay, you wouldn't have any people. I want you to know I've made my deposit. Yeah, I got two beautiful grandchildren, and they'll have children, and that will live on in me. Doesn't have to. I'm just saying that I did it. I did it. I don't know what to say about it. I did it because of the pressure of the religion at the time that I needed to do that. And it's all continuously worked out for me. So thank you for just letting me share. This has not been easy. The first time that I did this a few years ago was the hardest thing I've ever done. I have never publicly spoken about myself in any way for all these years. So thank you, HeartLight, for creating a space that I can express my authenticity. Lonnie?
Yeah, I would like to say something about what you just did, because my theory or thing on life is I tell everybody to share their stories. I've had things in my life that I've shared. But what happens is when you're sharing that story with me, somebody else is listening and you just change their life forever. So I tell everybody, how painful your story is, doesn't matter. What you need to do is share it, because it may help someone else. So thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you for saying that, because
Thank
that's
you.
my purpose. If for some reason there's somebody out there that happens to hear this who can say, oh, I don't have to give up my spirituality, I don't have to give up God, but I can be whole, all that I am, and I embrace that. So this is the path forward. I don't have my notes on this, but, and this is one of my, I'm going to talk to you in the next Sunday or two about the classes that's going to start over here at 10 o'clock on Sundays, because I know I'm going to have to really motivate some of you to get you there. But if you're to be there, you will be there. And I'm going to ask you to start moving. This came to me today. I've got a message from Spirit, I think. I don't know if it is or not. But I want you to start changing some of your 3D habits. If you want to become more 5D, I want you to change, for instance, the time you go to bed. If you have an 11 o'clock or whatever it is, I want you to go to bed at 10. If it's 11 or 12, I want you to go at 11. I want you to change some of the times that you eat dinner, and I want you to start disrupting some of your patterns that hold you into 3D. I think this could be very important, and I feel this was from Spirit to say this, that you need to shake it up a little bit and get out of the routines of things that make you living a more reactive life than being proactive with it. So change some things around. That would be very good for you. And of course, I'm saying that in the fact that if you're having a hard time getting here at 11, then you can change everything an hour back and maybe come at 10 if you want to. But this is what we need to do, re-examine root assumptions. This is what the class will be, to unpack this, to take it down and take it down to the very root assumptions and ways in which you can learn how to talk to other people. I told you when I came here 7 years ago, I did not want to be over you and have you under me, but I was looking for a people to be with me as a collective ministry. Every one of you are ministers in your own right, whether you know it or not. It doesn't mean you're standing up here behind a rostrum somewhere talking to a group of people. Sometimes it's in line at the bank when you're waiting for somebody, or at the grocery store, and somebody's attracted to turn around and say something to you, and you get an opportunity to plant a seed in the garden of their mind. That is ministry. There's many ways in which we minister to each other. But some of you got family that you've shut out because you just don't want to talk about it, because you don't know how to talk about it, and they wipe the floor with scriptures with you on hell and sin and everything else, and all you have to tell them, we don't teach that at HeartLight. Well, why don't you? Because the Bible says. And you say, yes, it does, but here's what it means. So I don't know if I'm preparing people, because I got to say that as bad as it kind of looks out there, in the natural we know spiritually something's going on big. We're in the darkest before the dawn. Huh? We're in the chaos before the transformation. We are no longer the butterfly caterpillar that doesn't know that it's not going to stay the caterpillar, but something's awakening in us. What I'm saying to you, that personally, I see an exodus of people coming out of religion because everything's failing in religion, politics, and everything that is conservative and literalism is going to fail the people. Hear me, it's already started. People are already rethinking how they voted. They're rethinking what they have done and how they have voted blindly and ridiculously, thinking they was going to get certain results that they're not getting today. This is going to awaken a lot of people. I think in religion, people who have waited for the coming of Jesus and the rapture and whatever, when all of this is proved itself to not be true, you're going to see a people searching and an exodus of people looking out. And when they come, they're going to be wounded. They're going to be hurt. They're going to be confused. And who's going to be waiting for them but a group of light workers who have done the work and are saying, we are here to heal you, we are here to help you, we are here to guide you, and to find out that the God you think failed you out there is the God of success that's coming awaken in you.
Here we go.
Hallelujah! And I feel I got to get you prepared and ready.
Yes. Thank you.
So Tim has spent 2 days for hours over there redoing that for streaming, the wiring, hours, so that we can not only reach those in the room, but anyone who wants to join us anywhere in the world can reach us. That's the way it is now. So we've got to re-examine root assumptions. Root assumptions is what you have picked up from conception to 7 years old. That's your first chakra. And people say, well, I'm out of the church now. I came out. I was abused and I was hurt and I came out of the church. But has the church come out of you? You still finding hurt and find drama and trauma going on in certain parts of your life. It's because, yes, you came out, but it's not out of you.
Right.
We've got to put the axe at the root of the tree. We'll be able to take these scriptures that are literal and give them a metaphysical interpretation and unlock them to the true meaning of what Spirit was trying to say when it got trapped in language of culture, society, and context of time. When you read the Bible literally, you're reading about words of thousands of years ago. But what is Spirit saying in 2025?
Yes.
And of course, we've got to become love-centered, and that sounds so simple, but it's probably the hardest and most challenging of all of them, to love some of these people you don't love right now. And they've been given to you as your test, my test. I don't agree with Trump, but I'm trying my best not to say that I hate Trump. I just don't like a lot of what Trump does. Please separate the essence of the person from the actions they have chosen, because actions do not always define us. If it did, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. And of course, what we're talking about today is the embracing of inclusive community. All of these things we need to take time more than just a Sunday morning message. Unpack it, bring it down, break it down into a way, because it doesn't matter what I say up here that you might agree with. It doesn't matter until it becomes conscious in you. Becomes conscious in you. All right, I'm supposed to give some time here because we got a workshop coming up. So again, thank you. I stumbled through this because this is my healing. I'm letting you see my healing process today of being able to talk about this. And see, I've talked about it before, but I've talked about it like it's them. Not maybe me. Yes, let's talk about all the gay people and we should not judge them. No. I am that which I am. Let us take just a moment. Just a moment. That's all we need. Happy Pride. Today, I want our prayers to go out into the collective consciousness from the vibration of this talk to those that have a matching vibration that is experiencing this part of life, who have been hurt, misused, abused, and judged. From our heart light within us, we let the light of healing and comfort and joy go to those who are desperate, who are hurt. May they find the presence within them. May they find that which is beyond how they have been molded and shaped by society, cultures, and man-made religions. May they find the true and authentic sacred self. Yes, we can use straight or gay life and do horrible things to each other. It goes to both. Rape, misuse, manipulation, control. It's not just to one group of people, it's to all groups of people. But today, may there be a new awakening in the depths of the consciousness of those who are ready to receive. We ask this in the wonderful, wonderful name of love that loved us. I'm going to try something here. Give me a key. I hear a song. Oh, love that would not let me go. Oh, love that purifies my soul. You're a God of height. You're a God of depth. Oh, love that did not let me go. Hallelujah.
Yes.
I said, oh, love that did not let me go. Oh, love that purified my soul. You're a God of light.